Canto 8. Summary. Beatrice and Dante now rise into the third heaven, the sphere of Venus. Dante the poet tells of how the ancient peoples, in their ancient sin, took the name of this star or planet and applied it to their false goddess. However, there is a real Venus, and it is into her sphere that the pair comes, Beatrice again increasing in beauty and brilliance as they do. The pilgrim watches as swiftly dancing lights circle closer and closer to where he stands. They are descending from the Empyrean to meet Dante here, singing Hosanna as they come. One soul in particular approaches and invites the pilgrim to ask whatever he wishes, as any interaction will multiply their joy. Though not named until the following canto, it is the soul of Charles Martel, a contemporary and friend of Dante, not to be confused with the 8th century grandfather of Charlemagne. While already the king of Hungary, he was in line to rule Provence and Naples as well, though he died before he could assume their lordship, as described by him here. After explaining the political machinations involving himself and his brother, Robert of Naples, who was still alive and in power in 1300, Charles answers Dante's question about how bitter fruit can come from a sweet seed. Robert was miserly to a fault, though his father, Charles II, was known to be generous, even if that was his only virtue. Dante wonders how children can grow to be so different from their parents. Charles answers in the following way. God has so created the universe that there is a way in which every person, with their natural aptitudes and capacities, can work together in harmony. The instrument by which these different capacities are distributed, along with their corresponding offices or duties within society, is the influence of the heavenly spheres, or rather the angelic intellects that guide them. Important to Charles' point here is that this influence is greater than the influence of natural heredity. When the former is neglected in favor of the latter, chaos ensues, for men are placed in positions for which they are not fit. Canto 8. Venus. The world was wont to think, to its peril, that the beautiful Cyprian wheeling in the third epicycle beamed mad love. Wherefore not only did they honor her with sacrifices and their votive cries, the ancient peoples in their ancient sin, but honored Dione and Cupid too, one as her mother, the other as son, and said he sat in the lap of Dido. And from her, whence I take my beginning, they took that star's name who yearns for the sun, sometimes from the nape, sometimes from the brow. I did not notice rising up to her, but my lady gave full faith of being there, for I saw her become more beautiful. As one beholds a spark within a flame, as one discerns a voice within a voice, when one stays and another comes and goes, in her light I saw other lights moving in a round more and less swift, in keeping, I believe, with their eternal vision. From a frigid cloud, no winds falling down, however quickly, visible or no, would not seem impeded and lethargic to one who had beheld those lights divine draw near to us, leaving the dancing round first begun amidst the high seraphim. And within those who appeared more in front, Hosanna rang, and never more have I been without desire to hear it again. Then one drew himself much closer to us, and alone began, "We are all ready, at your pleasure, that you may joy in us. With the celestial principalities we turn in one wheel, one wheeling, one thirst, of which you of the world already said, you who understanding move the third sphere. We are so full of love that to please you a span of quiet will not be less sweet." After, when I had devoutly offered my eyes to my lady, and with her own she made mine contented and confident, I turned back to the light that had promised so much of himself, and, "Oh, who are you?" were my words, stamped with a great affection. I saw him increase both in quantity and quality, at this new delight which, when I spoke, was added to his delights. This done, he said to me, "The world below held me but a short while. Had it been more evil would not have been, that will be. My happiness holds me hidden from you, beaming round and concealing me just like the animal swaddled in its own silk. you loved me very much, and had good cause. Had I remained below, I would have shown my love to you beyond the leafy boughs. That left-hand bank which by the Rhone is bathed, as soon as it has mixed with the Sorgue, bided its time for me to be its lord, as well as that horn of Ausonia, from where Tronto Verde dropped to the sea, edged by Bari, Gaeta, and Catona. Already on my brow glistened the crown of that land scored by the Danube river after it abandons its German banks. And beautiful Trinacria, darkened between Passero and Faro, above the gulf given most trouble by Eurus, not by Typhon, but by rising sulphur, would still have awaited its royal line, given birth through me by Charles and Rudolph, had not evil governance, that always grieves subjected people, moved Palermo to cry aloud, "Let him die! Let him die!" And if my brother had foreseen these things, the stinginess of Catalonia, he would flee even now, lest it hurt him. Truly, provision must be made by him or by another, lest his laden ship take to itself a heavier burden. His miserly nature, from generous descended, is in need of officials who care not about filling the coffers. Because I believe the high happiness with which your words fill me, my lord, is seen by you, there where each good ends and begins. In the same way that it is seen by me, I am more grateful, and this I hold dear, for you discern this, gazing upon God. You have made me glad, and so make me clear, for by speaking you have moved me to doubt how the bitter can come from a sweet seed. This I said to him, and he to me, If I can show you this truth, then you will see what you ask, which now is behind your back. The good that turns and makes content these realms, that you ascend has made his providence to be a power in these bodies grand. And not only are the natures foreseen in that mind that in himself is perfect, but together with them is their welfare. Wherefore, whatever this bow shoots will fall predisposed to its predetermined end, just as an arrow to its aimed-for mark. Were this not so, the heavens that you climb would produce their effects in such a way that they would not be art, but mere ruin. This cannot be, unless the intellects that move these stars be wanting too the primal mind for not perfecting them. Wish you this truth to be more clear to you? And I, No, for I see it cannot be that nature should grow tired with what must be. Thus he again, Now say, would it be worse if man on earth be not a citizen? Yes, I answered, and I ask no reason. And can that happen if men do not live differently within different offices? Not if your master sets down truth for you. In this way he came, working out his point. He ended, It is thus necessary that the roots of your effects be diverse. Wherefore one is born Solon, one Xerxes, one Melchizedek, and for another one who, soaring through the air, lost his son. The nature of these circles, like a seal upon the mortal wax, makes good its art, but does not distinguish between houses. So it is that Esau differs in seed from Jacob, and Quirinus was fathered by one so vile he is rendered to Mars. A nature begotten would always go a similar way to its begetter, if divine providence did not prevail. Now that which was behind you is before, but that you may know I rejoice in you, I want you adorned by a further point. Begotten nature, should it find fortune discordant with itself, like every seed outside its soil, always comes to evil. And if the world there below set its mind to the foundation that nature lays down and followed it, they would have good people. But each of you twists to the religious, whoever is born to gird on the sword, and turn into a king, one made for words. Wherefore your track lies outside of the road.